no basic zone.
It's your girl Stushy back with another video. If you are new, then hey boo, my name is Stushy. Be sure to go ahead and subscribe to join the Stush gang right now, and also click that bell to be alerted whenever I upload a new video. If you are indeed a returning subscriber, then welcome back to the channel. You guys, always happy to have you guys back to check out a brand new video. Today we're going to be diving into my brow routine, my 2020 brow routine, how I do my brows today in this day in this era. So I did put up a brow routine a while back, kind of like when I just joined YouTube, so I figured it was time for me to put up an updated one. So today I'm going to be showing you guys my tips and tricks to show you guys how I get my eyebrows done, how I do my eyebrows. I'll be sharing the concealers that I use, the brushes that I use, and what actual brow products that I use. So if you're interested in watching, stay tuned. Okay gang, today's topic is brows. So first thing first, I want to talk about brushes before I get into like what actual products I use for my eyebrows. These are just my recommendations. Feel free to use whatever you have, but these are just brushes that I currently own and that I use whenever I do my brows. So this is my MAC 266 brush. It is an angled brush. I actually stole this from my mom, and if I'm not using an actual brow pencil, I always use this brush because I use a pomade to do my eyebrows. So a flat angled brush. The next brush is another flat angled brush. This is actually what I use to carve out my brows with concealer. This one is the Morphe M165. You can use something like this. I like to use another flat angled brush. This one is a lot bigger than the first MAC brush that I showed you guys, but I like to use this to just carve my eyebrows out. You guys will see that in a second with concealer. And then the last brush that I like to use is a fluffy blending brush. This one is a Real Techniques Dome Shadow Brush. So this one is a lot wider than a normal blending brush, which is something like this, which is more tapered. And I also use a spoolie. This is just a regular spoolie. I got this one from e.l.f. literally like $1 or $3 I think I paid for this at Target. You don't need anything fancy for a spoolie brush. Use a very old like mascara brush. Make sure you wash it, clean it with soap and water. Again, you don't need to go out and buy any fancy brushes. Use whatever you can find. I just want to, put that out there. So I don't necessarily have an alternative for a brush like this because I feel like you need something angled to draw your eyebrows if you're using a pomade. But I do have an alternative if you're looking for a brush to carve out your eyebrows. If you don't want to use another angled brush, use a flat brush like this one. This one is again from e.l.f. It is their eyeliner brush. I used to use this a lot, but I don't know, I just like my angled brush now, so I've been using it. And the alternative that I have for a blending brush to blend everything out is something like this. So you can use something like this. You could pretty much call this a concealer brush. This is another one. This one is from Sephora. This is a concealer brush as well. It's not as fluffy as a blending brush, and you can use this to buff out. Next up is what I use to actually draw out my brows. So as I said before, I like to use a pomade. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills pomade, and I use the shade Ebony. This has been like my ride or die for a minute. It lasts for a minute too. So yeah, I've been solely using my Anastasia Beverly Hills pomade to draw my brows out. If you prefer using a pencil, if you want to use a pencil, I highly recommend their brow pencils. I also recommend Benefit's brow pencil, the Goof Proof pencil, and I also really like MAC's eyebrow pencils in the shade Spike. That's what I used to use way back in the day, but as of late I've been just using my Anastasia Beverly Hills pomade. I feel like it lasts a lot longer than a normal eyebrow pencil. And then lastly, you're going to need concealer. So the concealers that I have been using is a Fenty Beauty concealer. This is shade 410, and I've also been using my Born This Way concealer by Too Faced. This is in the shade Mocha. And last but not least, you are going to need a mirror. I'm currently using my Cutie mirror. These mirrors are currently on sale on my website, CAPRIAL.com. You can purchase them for under $10 right now. I'll leave the link down below in the description box. You guys see this all the time on my channel. This is what I use to apply my makeup on a daily basis. So enough chit chat, let's get right into it. I'm going to zoom you guys in just a bit more so you guys can, get up all in the face. Okay? So now that you guys are all up in my face, we're going to start to use our spoolie to just comb out our brows. So my eyebrows are kind of already groomed. I don't go to anyone to groom my eyebrows. I pretty much do them at home. My hairs don't really grow that much on my brows just because I've been pretty much plucking my eyebrows since I want to say like 11, 12, so they don't really grow that much anymore. I guess it's kind of an advantage because I don't have to like dish out $15, $20. I don't know how much people spend on eyebrows nowadays.
Oh my god, who the hell cares?
We don't want our hairs to be down like this and then it's like, okay, what's going on? Now we're going to take our Anastasia Beverly Hills pomade. Running low on this, but I've had this for a while. I'm gonna go in and I just tap my brush in there just like that. And I'm just gonna carve my brows out in the shape that they naturally grow. Hopefully that makes sense. So my brow bone is right here, so that's usually where my arch is, and then I bring it down to the tail, which is around right here. You never want your eyebrows to pass this point right here. You don't want it to be down here, you don't want it to be over here. That's just not cute. If you don't know where your eyebrow should end, use the brush to just measure it alongside the end of your eye, and that should usually give you a guide as to where your eyebrow should end, and it should start pretty much like right here. I like to start them where it naturally starts. Now I'm just going to start to draw out the brows, and I'm just going slow. You guys see that? Again, this is where my arch is, so I just carve up and then I start to bring it down. So that's where we are. Just a line. It looks crazy. It's alright. We're gonna work through it. I like to go in with a bit more of my pomade, and I just do the same exact thing on top, but I don't really start at the front when I start at the top. I like to start right around right here because I want to be able to blend out the front easily. Same thing. This is where my arch is. That's usually where I hit up, and now I start to bring it back down, and I connect the line right there. We've got an outline. I've been doing my brows for a while too, so I pretty much know my brow shape, or I know how I like my brows to look. A pretty big face, like you might not think so, but I have a pretty big face, so I like my eyebrows to match, you know, the circumference of my face. Hopefully that makes sense. You know, I don't like my eyebrows to be too thin. And then I'm just gonna start to fill it in. So I picked up a bit more of the pomade, and you don't even have to. You can add as you go. Use it to help blend out the brow. So I'm just going, like, as you can see, stroking motions. And I'm going to grab a bit more of the pomade and just continue to fill. And I add more pomade here and there depending on how I'm feeling. So right now, this is how our brows look. Okay, right? Okay. Now I'm going to go back in with the spoolie. So this will help the pomade to just distribute, and it'll allow you to see where you need to add more product as well. I don't know if you guys can see, but right here I could use a bit more product, a little bit more pomade to carve it out. That's brow number 1. Now we're gonna conceal. So now I'm gonna go in with my angled brush, Morphe M165, and today I'm gonna use my Fenty Beauty concealer in the shade 410 and go right in there. And you typically want your concealer shade for under your brows. I use maybe like 2 shades lighter than my foundation, or lighter than my skin tone, but you don't want it to be too light. I'm just gonna go in and follow. This is where you want to go slow. So that first line that we carved out with the pomade, you just want to follow right underneath that line to carve this out. And I like to start in the middle, and I lightly stroke at it. And this is your chance to clean anything up. Now go in lightly through the front, and then I start to drag the product down. And this is why I like to use a brush like this, because it makes it easy for you to draw the product down. And if we want to do the check, see, my brows haven't passed that point. Okay, now it's time to use our fluffy brush to blend this out. So I like to just go in and kind of stamp it in, because usually I do my brows before I do my foundation. I just don't like doing my brows after my foundation. I don't know, it's just been a thing of mine. So I like to just press it in while blending out the edges, because more than likely it's going to get covered anyway, because I'm going to go ahead and pop some foundation on. Okay, and that's the eye blended out. Now I'm just going to go in with my spoolie brush lightly and comb through, and here's a quick close-up. Okay, so now that that looks good, we're gonna go ahead and do the other one. I know we haven't cleaned up the top, and that's because I like to clean this up with foundation. So whenever I do my foundation, I use the foundation brush to carve everything out. So just hang on, let me do the other one for you guys real quick. Spoolie it up, take my pomade, tap 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 tap, and it's kind of hard to tell where my brows naturally grow, but I'm pretty familiar with my face. I've had it for 25 years. So yeah, I pretty much know where to carve out. So I've already got that going. Now I'm just gonna lightly fill in the front And again, we've got our line. Gonna do the same at the top, then same thing as with this side, we're gonna fill it in. Angled brush for the win if you're using a pomade. Or even a powder, a brow powder. I've never used a brow powder for my brows, but if you use a brow powder as well, you could do the same thing. Start to bring it down and connect, just like that. Then I'm using whatever remainder I have on here to just start to fill it in. Stroking motions. That was just with me using whatever was already on my brush. Now I could conceal, but I'm gonna go ahead and add some more product. I always like to have the tail to be a bit darker than the rest of the brow. That looks pretty good, and we can conceal. You see that? And remember, your brows are sisters, they are not twins, so they don't have to be 100% perfect. And then I'm just gonna press it in and blend this edges out. For the top of our brows, I have some foundation on the back of my hand, and I'm gonna use the same brush, and we're just gonna carve out the top. So for this one, I like to hold my brush this way to carve it out. You wanna take your time with the top because this can get tricky. And as you guys see, I'm dragging the product. I'm not doing stroking motions as I was before. Just like that. Blend upward. I don't really touch the front of my brow too much. And then you want to use your brush. And if you need to go back and spoolie, but that's the brow. You can flatten the brush and drag the product along the top like this. Spoolie the front. A lot of people like their brows to start like right here and right here. I'm not that girl. I'm not gonna extend it further than where it already is. So I like it to start wherever it naturally starts. I like to leave the front a bit more sparse. So yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed today's video. If you did indeed, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up down below. Let me know down below what's your favorite brow product. What are you using right now to draw your eyebrows? Do you rather a pomade? Do you rather a powder? Or do you rather a pencil? That way I know if you guys have made it to the end of the video. Be sure to also subscribe and join the gang if you haven't already, and turn on your notification bell so that way you're alerted whenever I upload a new video. And until next time, I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys all in the next one. Bye.